Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Planning Board meeting of December 5th, 2023. We call the meeting to order at 7:02. If we would all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Right. Our first order of business this evening is a public hearing continued on the application of Route 44 Development, LLC, requesting a definitive subdivision approval entitled Definitive Subdivision Plan for Route 44 Development, LLC, Route 44 Commerce Park, pursuant to the Carver Subdivision Control Bylaw for property located at off Green Parkway, formerly known as Montello Street, Assessors Map 20, lots 2, 2-1, and 14, and Map 22, lots 3, 3A, 3B, 3C, 3-1, 4, 5A, 10, 10-1, and 11 in Carver, Mass., showing 4 proposed non-residential lots in the Green Business Park District. We have a request from the applicant to continue the public hearing to December 19th, 2023 at 7:00 p.m. Do we have a room number?
We're going to call it room 4 because we believe the select board will likely be meeting in this room.
Okay, so at room 4, Carver Town Hall, 7 p.m., 12/19/23. The hearing will be continued without testimony at the request of the applicant. I expect that they will file their request with the town clerk.
It's already been done.
Excellent, excellent. Is there any further discussion? The chair will accept the motion to continue the public hearing on Route 44 development to December 19th, 2023, 7 p.m., room 4, Carver Town Hall.
I'll make that said motion.
Motion made by Mr. Robinson.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gatsky. Do we have any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Gatsky.
Aye.
Kevin Robinson says aye.
Noam says aye.
And Mr. Shea says aye. All right. Our next order of business is the planning board is to select a representative for the town administrator search committee. If you would tell us a little bit about the committee, Mr. Bott?
I should have anticipated that question, other than knowing that the Town Administrator Search Committee has representatives from multiple boards, including the Planning Board, the RDA, I believe the Conservation Commission as well. The Town Administrator has noted that he will be leaving his position. He's given the town 4 months' notice, and the hope and the goal from the Select Board is to identify and hire a new town administrator in that time frame. So it's a pretty aggressive schedule they've got to do something like that. But those are the cards that were dealt.
Right. The first meeting is proposed on
December
19th. Excellent. I would like to nominate Mr. Gatsky. He's been on the board for a few years. He has the experience, and if he's willing to accept the nomination, I would be strongly in favor of it.
Yeah, sure, I'll take it. Make room for my schedule. Should be fun.
Do we have any other nominations?
Usually the person that's missing gets stuck with it.
Right. Well, I believe she sent a text.
So I did. I had a conversation with Ellen earlier and texted her and said, "Well, the only thing on the agenda is this, and if it comes up, would you be interested in it?" And she said she'd be interested in it as well.
Because I was concerned that that exact thing would happen, and she'd walk in the room and find out that she's sitting on a new committee.
That's why I asked beforehand.
Right.
So do we have to table that until she's here?
Well, from my take, if someone has said they're certainly willing to do it, it's not like the Army where you're sticking somebody with something when they weren't here. But the next meeting we are going to have is going to be essentially after, December 19th. It actually is our planning board meeting, our off-schedule planning board. So they're meeting that night. We could obviously do that, make that same thing that evening, because assuming that that's the kickoff meeting, unless it's earlier in the day, it would likely conflict with our planning board meeting as well. And I wouldn't want a situation where we had to continue something again because a board member went somewhere else rather than here. I would think this would be their first bet. But yeah, I think. Is
your say good enough for me to nominate her as well?
Well, I expect, I'm not sure, but you could read the text.
No, I'm just wondering if it's how do you call it?
Acceptable?
Right.
Right.
There's got to be a word for
Because
it.
I wouldn't want to show up and be stuck on a committee
Yeah.
that I didn't volunteer for, so.
But he specifically asked her.
Yeah,
She
so,
said yes.
let's see.
So,
Give me a sec.
all right.
We're all set for tonight because she told me about being here and not being able to. So I said, we're all set for tonight. If you got a minute, give me a ring. I wanted to ask you if you have any interest in being on the Town Administrator Search Committee as the Planning Board's representative. She said, when do they meet? I didn't know that our current administrator was leaving. I said, don't know. By the way, the TA is leaving. He's given his 4 months notice. She would be very interested and appreciate the honor. I said, the board's voting on whom the representative might be this evening. I will let them know that you're interested in serving. And I got a thumbs up emoji. So
That's what she said, she'd be very interested in.
Honored.
I would be so interested with several O's. I would be so interested in appreciate the honor.
Okay.
Well, I think it's only fair to nominate her, but hear what she has to say and hear what John has to say before we made a vote.
Right, but
How do we
our
do
next
that?
vote would be after
After
Well,
it
like I
opens
said, I
up.
think if they're going to meet that on that 19th, our representative likely isn't going to be there anyhow.
They wouldn't be meeting in conflict with any board that's supposed to be on the committee. That would be
Yeah,
inappropriate.
except the 19th isn't our regular scheduled meeting. Our regular scheduled meetings are the 2nd and 4th. And because of the December holiday, we're meeting on the 1st and 3rd.
And do we know what time they're meeting?
I do not.
Well, they're not meeting in room 1 and room 4.
We don't know, they might be.
Right,
We don't know if they're picking this room or room 4.
well, the select board
They-
is likely to be up here, and we've
Well, there's
already
gonna be-
announced we'll be in room 4, so.
Right.
But they don't have a set time.
Not that I'm aware of.
All right,
Not
so
seen a posting for.
I expect that there'd be some flexibility in regards to if we're required to produce a representative.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I would say that the meeting on the 19th is likely by the select board to say, here's our appointee, here's everybody's appointee, and we'll kick off the process at that point.
Oh, they haven't chosen a representative. Oh, because they were supposed to meet tonight.
I think so.
Yep.
And they are meeting on the 11th to discuss the right of first refusal on Zero Lakeview. I don't know if that's on their agenda for that. I would imagine they rolled most of those things over from tonight to the 11th as well.
Where John and Ellen are both interested, why do we have to, we're only allowed to send one representative? That's ridiculous, you know?
Well, so...
It's for the good of the town to have...
So here's the
Yeah.
thing when you've got a meeting, particularly an ad hoc committee. And in my days of working with ad hoc committees, whether open space or planning boards, you get an issue with a quorum if you have too many people. I've always tried to keep a body, a committee, to 9 members or less. Because at 9 members or less, you got 5 for a quorum. You get to, over that, then all of a sudden we've got to have 6, and who can't make it and things like that. So it just gets problematic. So for the sake of maintaining a quorum and for essentially conducting business, and I would venture to say it may be in the town administrator bylaw. I know they changed some things in the town administrator bylaw at the last town meeting. I didn't read any of that stuff because I had a lot of other stuff to read. My bad. But I don't really know the process going forward other than in the email that I think I forwarded to you folks. a representative from the board.
There are 3 at-large appointees as well. So if Ellen wasn't selected, she could go in front of the select board and get in that way.
Oh, that's good to know, because I don't want to vote against the fact that John wants to do it, but I also want Ellen to have the opportunity, so thank you. I appreciate that. So that's, as long as Ellen is aware of that, you know, because obviously, you
And
know, I appreciate the fact that John wants to do that on our behalf.
Yeah. And if, you know, push came to shove, the planning board could always meet at, 6:30 for a brief session to go, this is the person, so we can notify the select board. But
Yeah,
obviously, a person can't be at both meetings at the same time. We have a meeting scheduled, they have a meeting
Yeah,
scheduled.
because they have Select Board, RDA, Concom, and Planning Board, and that would leave 3 at-large members.
I guess.
Yep. All right.
So what's the pleasure of the board? Do we want to vote tonight or take it up on the 19th?
Well, what if they're meeting at 5 o'clock on the 19th? Or, well, again, we're dealing with the Select Board meets at 6 o'clock. And it just seems that the whole scheduling thing on a Tuesday night at the
Well, I think
same
that's-
time as the Planning Board
Yeah,
seems
and,
to be a bit...
and that's interesting that most of the towns I've worked in, the planning board and the select board meet on 2 different nights.
Right,
Usually
right.
It's like Monday or Tuesday, Monday and Thursday.
But it would mean that either way, one night or the other, there was...
But keep
either-
in mind, this town administrator's select committee wouldn't be the select board. They would be, and obviously, when you look at something like that logistically, you go, okay, we can't meet on the Tuesdays because those boards meet then. So we just named 3 of them tonight that are all meet on Tuesday nights, the RDA planning board. So I'm going to guess, leaning in a little bit, speculating, it probably not, it'll be a Tuesday night this group's going to meet. If the Conservation Commission's on Wednesday, it's probably not a Wednesday night. Thursdays, I don't think too many people meet on Thursday nights, so it may be a Thursday night or Monday nights that they do those sort of things. But I'm just rampantly speculating at this point.
Well, what's the pleasure of the board? Regardless of who we vote in, it appears that they won't be able to attend the first meeting anyways, which I think
May not.
personally,
We don't know
right,
what time the meeting is.
personally, I think should be rescheduled in regards to,
Well, let me go back and,
I mean, it could just be okay, here's the board members, here's what we have so far, and basically, we're gonna be putting
Well,
out,
the selectmen's
yeah,
member.
we're
could-
just putting out the notices, and we haven't gotten any applications yet.
the
so,
Select board wouldn't have a member on the screening.
right, because they do the
They do
hiring,
the
so it
hiring.
wouldn't be necessary for
Right.
them to vote in a member,
So what boards are there going to be then?
so the email, I'm going back to look at the email I got from Elaine. The board will need to determine this at their 12/19 meeting as part of that charge. So the first email was, good morning, Carver's Town Administrator, Robert Fennessy, has given his resignation. The Select Board is in the process of putting together a screening committee for the next town administrator. The bylaw calls for a representative of each of your respective boards and committees. The Select Board is requesting that you schedule a meeting to choose your representative prior to December 19, if possible. Please notify me once your committee has selected a representative. The board is hopeful that a full screening committee will be decided upon at their meeting on December 19th, so the process can move forward promptly. That gives me the indication that they are saying, all right, here's the committee, and
Sounds to me like it's
They're gonna
just
choose
the,
the at-large.
the,
committee
uh,
Yep.
members then.
select board is just getting notification that this is the committee and to add their
Yep.
at-large members.
so Select Board meeting 19th, when that committee convenes, is, will be their charge, because after you got those people, then all those folks got to coordinate. their
Right,
schedules.
right,
Yeah.
so it means we should pick one tonight.
Well, this says if possible, so,
Right, well, if somebody wants to sit at the at-large seat, they're gonna have to know before that meeting, and that's,
whatever the pleasure of the board is.
But then wouldn't she have the same problem to be at the select board meeting to apply for the at-large?
the select board meets at 6.
Okay, then if they put that for, you know,
I'm sure we can give our recommendation, a favorable recommendation in regards to that. But this town always struggles for at-large members.
Do you want to hear the roster?
I would appreciate it. Thank you, Bill.
It's one member of the school board, one member of finance, one member of planning, one member from the business community, a Carver resident or business stakeholder, 3 members at large Carver residents to be appointed by the select board, and 2 public safety representatives who are not appointed by the town administrator. So the chief,
So did it even say the planning board?
one planning, yeah.
Okay.
So, Mr. Bott, as our planner, is Ellen, is she able to serve as that member at large if we appoint John?
I would think so. I mean, we've got, what do we got?
What I don't, what
Yes.
I'm trying to say is I don't want it to be a conflict of interest
Yeah.
that we are now putting 2 planning board members there
Oh,
because
she
she is
wouldn't be
going
a
to be as
representative.
No.
Right,
Yeah.
she's not going to represent the planning board, so that won't be a conflict.
So on the CPC, we have Don as the representative of the CPC and Connie as the historic commissions or
Yes.
at large?
Yeah. Historic Commission.
Historic commissions.
Okay.
So, there's only so many bodies to go around in a town of, 15,000.
Ms. Hewings has sat on at-large on other boards too,
Right.
and so has various other members.
I'm fine supporting John, the fact that he wants to do that, and we have to make a decision tonight, as long as Ellen understands that she can serve in that position as well at large.
Well, I would like to include that, and only if the membership agrees, that an appropriate recommendation should be made for her at the at-large position.
Okay, that'd be great.
I don't have a,
I just don't know, can we do that as a planning board, though?
Sure.
Oh, we can?
Yeah, write a letter. Says planning board chose this gentleman.
yep.
The planning board also recommends highly one of their other members who has interest in the board as an at-large committee member.
Perfect.
All right, can that be my?
The
You
motion?
You nominated John, right? And you need a second?
Well, we need a motion to open it for vote, and I just nominated John to open up the nominations.
Uh-huh.
So, a motion to,
But you don't need a second?
well, the chair will accept the motion to, no, I don't need a second, no.
Okay.
Anybody can nominate, we could all
Right.
nominate each other, and then there'd be 5 nominations.
Okay, and then I am making,
So the chair will accept the motion to nominate, we'll take a vote, approve Mr. Gatsky for the planning board representative, with the recommendation of Ms. Sordillo as an at-large member, as stated in the recommendation.
yes.
Yep.
That would be my motion.
Oh,
So,
Hold on,
so
hold,
moved.
I think it should be 2 motions. Because if,
all right, well, then I can separate it into
because
two
I don't want
motions.
to put a vote for anybody in
Agreed.
anybody's mouth.
All right, agreed. So,
And then
um,
if I'm selected, then we write the letter for.
okay, yes. All right.
There we go.
So the chair will accept the motion to nominate Mr. Gatsky to the Town Administrator Screening Committee as representative of the Planning Board. So we need a motion.
Do you want to do that?
I'll make said motion.
Motion made by Mr. Williams. Either one of you can second it.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Gatsky. Further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Gatsky.
Aye.
Mr. Robinson says aye.
Don Williams says aye.
And Mr. Shea says aye. The chair will now accept a motion to recommend Ms. Sordillo as member at large to the Town Administrator Screening Committee, as noted in the recommendation draft by Mr. Bott.
I will make that said motion.
Motion made by Mr. Robinson, seconded by Mr. Gatsky. Mr. Gatsky.
Aye.
Mr. Robinson says aye.
Don Williams says aye.
And Mr. Shea says aye. All right. Our next order of business is town planner notes.
No notes from me. I think I mentioned to you folks, I was in Western Massachusetts this weekend doing the CPT session on special permits and variances for a number of planners in Western Massachusetts. We had about 72 people show up at the conference at Greenfield Community College. It was a lovely day and lots of really interesting people from Western Mass and lots of very interesting issues they have with things like, we have a town of 300 people and we have a planning board and we barely have electricity. So, you know, those are serious issues those folks have got out there just trying to maintain, you know, their communities with the size of some of these rural communities out there. And I mentioned I work for an agrarian community, but they're like very agrarian.
Yeah.
So that was very good. And the only other thing I had mentioned that I mentioned on our site walk is that December 16th is Wreaths Across America Day, where the very good folks in Maine who make wreaths to put on the graves in national cemeteries all around the country. So I will once again be at Bourne National Cemetery to put wreaths on people's graves, because I know that there's people in Jacksonville, Florida that are doing it for my mom and my father's grave, and people in Washington, D.C. putting them on my brother George's grave in Arlington. So it's a great organization. It's a really cool thing to do, and it's just very stirring. And you get to walk around and read stories about people while you're putting wreaths on things, and it's you know, it's cool, and it's very, for me, very returns whatever sort of aggravation you may have to get out of bed on a Saturday and walking around in the rain and snow, whatever the conditions are. So Wreaths Across America Day, December 16th. That's all I got.
All right, planning board member notes.
Shout out to the Carver football team, the high school football team. It was a valiant effort. Unfortunately, they fell a little bit short, but what a fantastic season these guys had, and really look forward to. We seem to be the talk of the state, and people officially declaring us a football town, and it's. I think we got something special brewing down here.
Yeah, they had a great season. The whole athletic staff and those men showed great determination and perseverance, and I have no doubt.
A lot of good kids coming up for next year and stuff like that as well.
Well,
It's gonna be-
I think every one of these kids is going to go a long way in life.
It's going to be really good stuff.
And, well, on a more national note, we've lost several notable figures in the past week. It's been very strange. Of course, Rosalind Carter was a remarkable woman. Kissinger, these people formed a large chunk of our generation politically, and we lost Sandra Day O'Connor, yeah, the first woman on the Supreme Court. Yep. Remarkable people.
So just one sidebar to Carver football. I go to Civics Day every year I've been here, so this is when 10th graders come and learn about municipalities and government and how things happen. And so the thing I mentioned to the kids who are there all the time is that sports is great. I told my kids, you don't get to go to high school by yourself. You got to join a club. They picked marching band and math team. But you got to go with a group. Sports, I swam in high school. It was a great experience. But I tell these kids all the time, work on your game, but homework is what pays the dividends. More people go to college on academic scholarships than you do on athletic scholarships. So if you want to do something for the big picture, you know, work on your blocking drills, but work on your math too, because math pays.
If they apply that same grit and determination they showed on that football field, I have no doubt that.
Well, keep in mind, as a sophomore, I was rendered academically ineligible for the second half of the swim team. Because I was like, dude, isn't this great? And they're like, remember the homework? I'm like, oh, man, the homework. So you can get lost in the things you got to do, especially as a youth in high school.
And there's so much on your plate at that time in your life. All right. We won't do the minutes because, although I know Michelle noted that she had gotten the full minutes, I don't think I received a copy of them.
Yeah, I think they got emailed to you, but
That's fine.
Yeah,
I
we'll
didn't
put 'em
get
on the
a-
next
yep,
agenda.
I didn't get a chance, so we're going to continue that one. So if there's nothing else, the chair will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Gatsky,
Second.
second by Mr. Robinson. Mr. Gatsky.
Aye.
Mr. Robinson says aye.
Don Williams says aye.
And Mr. Shea says aye. Thank you very much, and have a pleasant evening.